اسمعوا نشرة ثمانية بتعرفوها الدنيا فانية، الرحيل في كل ثانية والجميع لغور دانية. الدنيا سيبك قبل تسيبك فيما صل على حبيبك، يا زميل الدنيا هابة أصل ما تلحق رهابة، سايلة زي ظل السحابة وكان بدوم وين الصحابة. الدنيا سيبك قبل تسيبك فيما صل على حبيبك.
Tekkes in Sudan. As part of our documentaries to Sudanese Sufi women, dear audience, it is my great pleasure welcoming you to this new episode, a unique one, in which we traces back the history of Tekkes as part of the institutions that combined and make up Masid in Sudan. So the story today is about the Takaya or Takaya, that is Arabic plural and singular, which in English stands for Tekkes. A tradition rooted in Sufism, carried forward by men and women alike since the advent of Islam into Sudan, and with the arrival of Sufi Masid represented on the coming of the Qadiriya Sufi order in 1577. So the word in Sudan, in the Arabic, Sudanese Arabic, is pronounced as Takaya, singular of Tekke. Unlike other parts of the Islamic world, in the Islamic world, the Tekke or Tekkes has a very particular meaning. It is not simply a charitable endowment or a hospice. In the Sudanese context, the Tekke or Tekke is the place where food and drink are prepared. First, for the students as well as the travelers and the visitors of the Sufi Masid. According to the late Khalifa Muhammad al-Hassan Abu Groon, Tekke or Tekke is inseparable from the Masid. Together, they form the cornerstone of Sudanese religious and social life. For Masid is more than Quranic school or Sufi lodge. It is a sanctuary where people from every tribe, every creed, every ethnicity and social class gather as one family. Under its shade, the narrow horizons of tribalism give way to a wider vision of unity, where all are fed and all are welcome. The audience, as I have presented earlier, the social role of Sufis in Sudan, I stated that once the Sufi think of establishing a new site, a village, initially started with three important elements. That is, in the final conclusion, represent the institutions that every Masid or every Tariqa possess. First of all, the Sheikh think carefully, think of a place and part inside his own new establishing Masid. He think carefully about the establishment of a Tekke. That is the first thing that he think about. And then followed with mosque for prayer. And then Khalwa for teaching the Quran. So Tekke for preparing food, drinks, for the murids, for the visitors, for the passerby, for the travelers, followed by a mosque for prayer, a water well for drinking, then Khalwa for the teaching of the Holy Quran and other Islamic religious sciences. So Takaya or Tekke embodies divine balance, embodies a divine balance, offering nourishment and reassurance to the human spirit. And by the way, here the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Quraysh state, لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. So Tekke or Takaya is an embodiment to this and to the essence of this surah. For the one who refuge to the Tekke and Masid in general, by the way, find shelter, find safety and security, and at the same time comes to be fed. And this is, as I told, is a practical side to this surah, that is Surah of Quraysh, in which food and drink be fed to the traveler, to the visitor, and at the same time finding heaven, finding safety inside the masjid. Throughout times, Tekke or Takaya is there throughout the times of hardship. For the Takaya revealed its deepest strengths. With the ongoing war ravaging our homeland, by the way, 15th of April 2023, Sudan witnessed fierce violence, a war that erupted in the country. So the culture of the Tekke, from the moment of the outbreak of the war to the present day, the culture of the Tekke has moved beyond the Masjid. And as you know, Tekke or Takaya is a pure Sufi institution. It is a sole Sufi institution. And because of the influence and the impact of Tasawwuf in Sudanese society, then the nature, the idea of Tekke has been taken outside the masjid and used to be part of the daily activities that used to be taken by youth in feeding the needy. So now Tekke is there in Sudanese vocabulary, and some sort of renewal has taken place to this concept, to this term and the notion of Tekke, spilling into the very streets of Sudan. It is there in every city. Mosque, schools, clubs, and public squares have all become home to these communal kitchens, simply Tekkes. Here, food is prepared and shared without pride or reproach, an act of mercy, a living testimony of solidarity, reflecting how Tasawwuf is so deep, is so impacted in Sudanese society. So today, Sudan itself has become like one vast Masid, dotted with countless Takkiyas. In them, we see the true face of Sufism in Sudan, a faith that binds people together in compassion, that fills the void left by the failures of the state, and that lightens the suffering of ordinary citizen caught in war. The audience following this short introduction about the history of Tekkes in Sudan and the functions behind the establishment of this part of the Masid or Sufi Tariqa institutions, I would like to inform that our focus during these documentaries is just to reflect the role led by the Sudanese Sufi women. And here, in the next episode, I would like sharing the contributions of women in Tekkes, and in that sense, women is part and parcel of the long journey of Tasawwuf in Sudan. So just we stop here and then we go to the second part of our presentation to history of Tekkes in Sudan, following the contributions of the Sudanese Sufi woman.